Happy Dork Discourse Tuesday, friends! What is up, guys? Welcome.
So,
I feel like something looks different today. Oh, that's this. I was like, what's this in the corner? It's the mic stand. Hello. Hello.
It moves, folks.
That's gonna sound weird for their ears.
What?
It makes noise. That makes noise for the microphone when you move it like that.
Oh.
Yes. Sorry, everybody. Sorry. Happy Tuesday, friends. Welcome, everybody. Alice, good to see you. Don't even worry about missing last week, girl. We're happy whenever you can bless us with your appearance. Mike Hill, Stanley's Visitor Zeta, Sean, Daddy Josh. I think we saw some other friends in here. I think I saw View with Drew. LOL Caver. What's up? What's crack-a-lackin'? Who else was here?
What's going on, everybody?
Keanu Cooper. What was the music called? It is some free, copyright-free music from like the YouTube audio library, in the YouTube studio. I can find it and put it in the description if you'd like. Jerry Bismo, Daddy Josh. I might have already said that, but Daddy Josh, let's go. Awesome shirt as always, Tom.
Thank you.
Tom does have the best shirts.
Yes, shout out to Kenobi.
Hope y'all are having a great week. Thank you guys for joining us for a themeless installment today. It's dealer's choice this evening. Whatever you guys would like to talk about, because
it's not themeless. The theme is Q&A. We haven't done a Q&A in Dork Discourse, just a straight up Q&A ever, I think. And you haven't done a Q&A just
in years
for yourself in a very, very long time. So I think there's a lot of new faces. There's a good growing audience in the Dork Discourse realm, so I think the theme is Q&A.
That's true.
A lot to talk about.
Nick Gundy, let's go. Member for 28 months. Nick. Holy smokes. Dust storm keeping me from dance class. So Nick is finally chilling here. Yes, I saw that there's actually a lot of inclement weather happening throughout the Midwest. Stay safe, y'all. If you happen to be over there, that's a big generalization because I think I saw it's from like Missouri to Wisconsin. That might not even be the Midwest. That encompasses a lot of ground, I think. But if you happen to be anywhere in that line, there's like a big
Missouri and Wisconsin.
Missouri two. Open your ears.
I thought you were implying that
no,
Missouri and Wisconsin are neighbors.
I know that they are not within the same vicinity. That's why I said I know that is a generalization and encompasses a lot of area. So if you happen to be anywhere in that region, two.
Okay.
Jesus, I'm not that geographically illiterate. Sean, member for 7 months on the master level. Let's go, my friend.
Sean.
Hello there. 7 months and counting in the best community. Heck yeah! Even better because you're in it. Can't wait for what lies ahead. You all stay awesome forever and always. Love you. We love you right back. Sean, stay tuned, by the way, members. Some more, a new membership perk, I guess I should disclose for everybody, that I was like, I don't know why I haven't been doing this. Like, we've done watch parties in the past, but for example, if you saw my latest Logan reaction, we actually did that as a watch party, so I got to watch that alongside the members, so they got first exclusive look, first dibs on my live reaction, my live crying. I had to edit out like 10 minutes worth of me just getting my shit together. Oh, shnikes, sorry. It's been 30 seconds. Whoops. God forbid. I talk about Logan. I watch one R-rated movie and then I start accidentally cursing on stream.
It's been like 6 minutes technically.
So yeah, we're fine. Hey Kat, Tom, and everyone, YouTube has been very fickle when it comes to notifications for live streams. Interesting, Jared. That I have heard reports of that a lot.
Yeah, it's because there's two things. You got to make sure the bell is clicked in YouTube, and that's set to turn on all notifications. And then in your phone or your device, you also have to go in and give YouTube the full notification
permission
privileges. Yeah.
Interesting. So, that could be why.
Yeah. So
I hear from my mother most frequently that she doesn't get notified. You know, we'll wrap up a stream and she'll be like, "You were live? I had no idea, and I am subscribed to your notifications." But that could be it if you do not have your settings equipped on your actual device, regardless of whether you've allowed it in YouTube or not. That could be. But I do know YouTube, regardless of all of that, has been having some major algorithm notification, you know, even if someone recently on my Logan video said like, hey, I stopped watching you because I wasn't getting your videos weren't showing up on my page for like a long time until just now. And this is the case for a lot. I know a lot of
What, until
channels.
Logan video came out?
Yeah.
So you posted that?
But I'm saying this is not just me. A lot of creators have been voicing similar concerns, like the algorithm is not functioning the way it once was, pumping out people's content. You know, you could be following someone and none of their videos will be getting suggested to you. So all that is to say, it's definitely, it could, we're not saying you don't have everything, all the notifications and whatnot, the bell, hit the bell, blah, 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 all that said and done, because even if you do, I'm pretty sure YouTube is still not functioning correctly. Can't stay too long, just trying to get some stuff ready. Oh, yes, that's right. Your mineral show is coming up. Oh my gosh. That's awesome. It only comes to California once every 7 years.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Holy shnikes. You definitely have a lot to prepare for then. Well, thank you for popping in, Jared. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Good luck with the show.
You. Yes.
Good luck with your preparation.
Star Wars Theory said the same thing about the algorithms. Yeah, it's a lot of content creators are struggling right now because YouTube's just not, you know, it's not showing you the people you're actually subscribed to. So yeah, that's why, you know, it's interesting that I ventured out. I made one Marvel themed video and that drew somebody back who'd been subscribed for a long time, and then it was that video for some reason that showed up again. So needless to say, as you guys have seen, I'm delving a little bit more into movie reactions. So obviously once Acolyte comes out, that's going to be like on the front burner, taking up most of my time. So we're of course not neglecting the Star Wars reactions, but we're dabbling a little bit in some other franchises. So that said, some other ones in the queue, as I mentioned in Logan, we're definitely doing Deadpool next. So members, what I started saying was stay tuned because we might be doing a watch party for that this weekend. Blade Runner, other major sci-fi ones, both the Harrison Ford one and the Ryan Gosling one, which I think it's the latest one that's extremely popular, the one with Ryan Gosling. Like highly praised sci-fi, just haven't seen that. I'm very, very interested in the Mad Max. I keep saying, I always want to say Mad Max.
No.
If you are an East Coaster, or I don't know if Mad Max ever extended onto the West Coast.
I don't know. There's only a handful of them.
And they're all bankrupt now. It's like completely shut down, I think.
Might be, yeah.
Sorry, Mad Max. If there's actual Mad Maxes still functioning, get it while you can. But every Mad Max we've ever gone to, it was like a Mexican chain restaurant.
Tex-Mex.
Yes, like very Americanized Mexican.
Yeah, not an authentic Mexican place.
No, by no means. But it was good. It was so freaking good.
Yeah.
Anyways, every time I go to say Mad Max, I always accidentally say Mad Max. But, you know, with the new Furiosa movie coming out with Anya Taylor-Joy, and also recently on several, two different flights that we had earlier this year, unrelated flights, the person in front of me for each one was watching the Mad Max movies. So I was like, all right. I was like watching over their shoulder. No. I was being that annoying person. I had no idea what was going on, but I was very intrigued. So I want to check out those. So those are some that are in the queue, but if you guys have other suggestions, it does not have to be sci-fi related. It can be anything. Just watched Deadpool 1 and 2 for the first time last weekend, says Jerry. No way.
Okay.
I'm not alone. I'm catching up. Let's go. Alice started watching Moon Knight for the first time. Oh my gosh. It is really good. That show, we were just talking about this with Charlie. Moon Knight is actually fabulous. I'm so excited for the next season.
Yeah.
Tom still has to finish the first season.
No, I did. I saw it.
Oh, that's right. Dave reminded me
consciousness
as well. House of the Dragon season 2. Yeah, June. We got to ramp it up, folks. We got to put pedal to the metal and lock in. Get into high gear. We're going to be dodging. We're going to have House of the Dragons on Sundays. Got to get that up and edited and get locked and loaded for Tuesdays. Now that they announced, yes, that primetime release for Tuesdays for 6 p.m. Pacific time. Yeah. Thank God.
That's official?
That is, yes.
Officially announced?
Thank gosh.
Nice. It's great because that's one of the reasons why we just settled on this time for
Dork
Discourse. Because this is at 5 Pacific time. The shows come out at 6 Pacific time. Then we get an hour to pregame with everybody. Immediately go watch the episodes. And on the 4th, we have 2 first 2 episodes of The Acolyte.
That's right.
So
it's
it's
a
awesome.
double
It works out.
premiere.
Yeah. It's works
I
out
think
really
I
well.
also just saw the release schedule. What is going on? What is this new trend? I think Rings of Power is having a 3-episode drop. I think I just saw the episode release schedule for the season 2 as well. Don't quote me on that. Read the chat while I confirm. See, let me see. Make sure I'm not spreading fake news.
Okay. Yeah, you check that. Let's see. Diego. What's going on, Diego? Hello. Is there any big franchise you have not seen before? For example, Harry Potter. That's a great question. I think we've both seen Harry Potter, both seen Star Wars, both seen Lord of the Rings, both seen, I don't know, what other big franchise? Indiana Jones, Marvel. We have not seen every Marvel movie
Nah,
in
we
the
definitely dipped
modern
off.
Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Ooh, somebody actually asked me to react to Black Panther 2, which I've not seen. Yeah, we both admittedly kind of dipped off after Endgame.
Yep.
I'd say. Also, I think I definitely did just spread lies. I can't find anything on the interwebs that backs up what I saw on Twitter. So what I must have seen must have been AI, must have been fake. I swear I saw a graphic that had a 3-episode premiere for House. Sweet Lord. Rings of Power, there's too many things coming out. My brain already is getting them all mixed up. Yeah, no, definitely dipped off. I think the latest Marvel release that we've both watched was Multiverse of Madness. Or No Way Home.
Multiverse.
Doctor Strange.
Did we see that in theaters?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
We saw, the last one we saw in theaters was
No Way Home.
No Way Home, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man. Had to see that one. And that was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we haven't seen a Marvel project in theaters since that. And I think for me, the one before that was literally Endgame.
Yeah,
I don't think I saw any other Marvel films since then in theaters.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute. All right, Stanley's is backing me up, confirming that there is a 3-episode opener. So maybe I didn't just spread hearsay.
There you go. Okay.
Oh goodness. Oh, we can talk about this. Dave brings up a good one. Did you see the controversy regarding the lightsaber whip being used in the Acolyte? I'm cool with it since that lightsaber weapon was in Star Wars Legends. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Great question, Dave. Fantastic question.
Oh God.
It's such a quick shot that we see of it in that little TV spot that they released. I don't know anything about it in Legends, so I have no knowledge of the history of this thing. At first glance of seeing it, it does kind of rub something the wrong way in my head.
Really?
Just because we're so used to a traditional lightsaber of a retractable, solid, sturdy blade of energy. So now it's like, okay, you tweak the setting a little bit, and then it becomes, floppy, flimsy, and fluid. So in my head, I'm instantly like, okay, what are the mechanics of that? But we're literally nitpicking the mechanics of a sci-fi, not real weapon.
Yes, exactly.
Even though Disney now has an actual retractable energy blade version of this thing that was on the Star Cruiser, RIP. So it's becoming more actual real life, and Hacksmith Industries, shout out to them. They put that they created that kind of retractable version of the lightsaber as well. So turning it into a whip, yeah, okay, I could see it happening. But if that whip wraps around someone and doesn't cut them in half, then that's a problem.
Right?
If
Can it slice and dice?
If it behaves like a whip that you would wrap around someone, yeah.
Indiana Jones whip.
I mean, there's arguably lightsabers turning into baseball bats and them de-impacting the real threat of a lightsaber. And I mean, everybody's seen the Qui-Gon memes of however many people since Qui-Gon got stabbed have survived from getting stabbed, presumably in the same spot. No problem. And yet Qui-Gon died. They have desensitized the impact of a lightsaber, I think, already. So if this whip is a
We have nothing to
like
prove
an
though that
Indiana
it's been
Jones whip,
desensitized.
and it's like, no, I'm not
That has been
excluding the whip,
reduced.
excluding the whip, just in general.
Lightsabers have maybe
Yeah.
lost their luster,
Yeah, because like so many people get stabbed with them
and they're not
and cut
mortally
with them,
wounded.
and and there's no consequence.
Mm.
Like the threat was, anytime you saw someone get hit with a saber, they were dead, or they lost a limb. Versus, we've seen how, let's count them. I mean, Sabine, why is she the only one that popped in my head immediately?
Reva, Kylo Ren.
Yes, Sabine, Reva twice, and when she was a youngling.
Spoilers
Kylo.
for Tales of the Empire.
Yeah.
Sophie.
Yeah, Barriss. Cal, doesn't Cal get stabbed?
Ooh, he did.
In Fallen Order, he gets
I
stabbed.
don't think anyone ever really complains about that one though.
I mean, that was really on
It
the
was
side.
very
They made an
on-
emphasis that it was really on the side.
Yeah, I don't think that struck any major organs.
But I'm still at it. Cal. What else we got?
I think that's everybody that we know.
I'm
of.
not convinced. I'm not convinced. I'm sure there's more.
Well, no,
But,
yeah,
yes.
I'm more in favor of, because you touched on what I think is the crux of the debate right now, why people are freaking out. It doesn't make sense, the physics, the science of it. Like, how would that? How does that?
It's a rope now.
Yeah, and I think that's what's boggling people's minds. But that's my whole stance to it. It's like, not our real science. They have so much more scientific advancements than we do. What makes you think any aspect of real life science, the confines of our known universe scientifically, would apply to Star Wars, where they're flying around in spaceships, space travel, time travel, like world between worlds.
Yeah.
Nothing about our real world necessarily, like nothing about that world, rather, that universe scientifically is limited to the science of our real world. That's what I think is just so funny. So
Grand
it's like-
Inquisitor. Thank you, Zeta.
Oh, true. He has two stomachs.
It's like,
You knew he forgot one. Well, I do think they're finally starting to rebound from that. I feel like maybe they have heard, but now it's kind of gone too far. I think we just listed 5 people and only one of them has seemingly been mortally wounded. Barriss Offee. Even though that's still up in the air. People don't believe that anymore. It's kind of like a little boy who cried wolf. Like,
yeah.
this is no longer mortally injuring people.
When was the last time we saw a lightsaber kill someone? Like a
Kenobi?
main character, not
A main character dying to a lightsaber.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's an obvious one and I'm just not thinking of it.
Well, it's not obvious.
No. Chat, help us out.
I can't
Who's
think
the
of it either.
last person who met their
In
maker at the
release
hands of a
order,
lightsaber?
release order, what is it?
Well, let's think of where we've seen lightsabers. Kenobi, Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Empire. Yaddle. I think that's the first one that comes to mind. We know Dooku killed her.
Yeah.
We just don't see it. Ahsoka versus
So
Mirage.
do we know Dooku killed her?
I think it's pretty obvious. But Mirage that's true. And then but that wasn't necessarily a typical human death because
Yeah. Vanished.
Infinity snapped away.
Han
in Force Awakens. Duh, I told you there was an
Maybe.
obvious
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Han Solo.
Because no one died to a saber in The Last Jedi. That was a main character. Well, Snoke, I guess. I think you got to count Snoke.
Oh yeah,
You got to count Snoke. So Last Jedi is later than Force Awakens and Han. Rise of Skywalker. Did anybody? No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think.
I don't think so. So okay, so we got Snoke in The Last Jedi, and then now it's just all the TV shows. Mando season 1. No.
No lightsabers.
Nope.
That's why I was like,
the
where
dark
have we
saber at the
seen
end,
a
but there was
lightsaber?
nothing. Mando season 2.
All the rebels in Rogue One could win Team Money.
Oh, yep.
That's
Yeah.
actually so true.
Yep, that rebel got shanked straight through the door.
That was
so
definitely
yep.
fatal.
So
Grand
Mando season 2,
Inquisitor, but he
no.
didn't die.
Mando season 3, no. I mean, Paz got
Oh, John's
axed
right.
by the
Yaddle didn't die from the saber the door closed on her. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's why it happened off screen. That would have been traumatic.
Yeah.
So point is, there are obvious ones though that we just don't come to mind immediately, but that's still actually kind of
the last movie was
rare.
2017. We've gotten 3 seasons of Mando. Hasn't.
Well, that's not a
nothing
lightsaber
fatal.
centric show.
Mando literally has a dark saber.
Yeah,
And
we
Bo
saw him
literally
slice
has a
and
dark-
dice. We did see Mando slice and
cut,
dice.
he cut the meat criminal overlord dog face dude in half. Sliced
That
him
was
up.
so.
in Book of
That
Boba
was
Fett.
great.
Yeah.
That was actually fabulous.
Yeah.
Literally decapitated at the hip.
Ahsoka, that didn't happen. Andor, no, there's no
Obviously,
sabers.
no lightsaber.
What other shows we got?
Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, Boba, no. Kenobi,
Well, that's where Mando had the.
Oh, yeah. Kenobi, shout out Kenobi. No, we did not.
I'm sure we'll be seeing some in Acolyte. This is
Yeah.
about to be one of the first live action shows that's actually really gonna address a huge complaint that a lot of people have had with the live action Disney Plus stuff. It's not Jedi focused,
Yep.
so why would I be interested?
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, why is there so much freaking already disdain for this show? People moaning about it prematurely when it's like it's fine. You're finally getting what we've all been asking for, which is just more freaking a room full of freaking lightsabers, room full of dang Jedi. Like, so I'm sure we're gonna see some fatal slicing and dicing. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I think the stakes are going to be high here. If this show lives up to what the description has been for it being a darker, focused more on the darkness, not necessarily Sith-centric, but tapping more into some darker themes, as we've seen, if there's no saber kills after they dropped the absolutely fire and flames poster of the lightsaber blood trail. It was the ignited saber, streak of blood.
Was that for Acolyte?
Yes.
Yeah, no, this is gonna be a darker show. I mean, all the trailers have been marketing around Jedi are dying.
Yeah,
It's gonna be mystery to solve why the Jedi are dying.
I think John's got the most recent one. Yes, Ahsoka used the lightsaber on Morgan Elsbeth. Right? There's a lot that we just. That's true. Cal Kestis
Okay.
kills a lot of people in the video game with a lightsaber. Oh, Trilla. We've seen so many.
No, but
we've seen so
let's
many.
be clear here. Yes, there is death.
But what's the most recent?
But it's like not. It's not obvious. Like even Trilla, it's like the camera's fading out. Like it's implied. A lot of them are implied deaths. Versus if you watch the original trilogy and the prequels and even the Clone Wars, I mean, limbs are flying off, heads are flying off and rolling on the floor. Like
the Clone Wars is the kid's show.
It's like, yeah, it's like here's a permanent scar, literally on your face or in the loss of limb, multiple limbs, whatnot. Like here is a reminder of what the power that this blade possesses. But I feel like, yeah, T-Money, lightsaber's been nerfed. Like, I think it has been nerfed a little bit because we don't like fear it. Like when you're watching a fight and even like with the shows and all the lightsabers we've gotten, like that fear of, oh my God, this could literally decapitate someone at any given moment, let alone kill someone, is not there.
That's right. Vader versus Seer. Yeah, we were having a brain blast moment there. Couldn't think of one on the spot. However, to your point, and a lot of what these comments are also suggesting, like, yeah, the things happen kind of off camera or off screen, but I think it is when multiple people survive what should be a fatally inflicted wound to the gut via a lightsaber stab. It starts to maybe lose a little bit of its luster. But I do feel like them, again, however you feel about it, I interpreted it with Barriss Offee that she is in fact 100% dead and had a little bit of a Padme complex and wanted to die, like was ready and had given herself resigned to that. So I feel like they're starting to maybe kind of reclaim, like, all right, not everyone can survive this under certain circumstances.
But then, if that's what they're going for, make it obvious. Like, slice the head off.
No,
just shoom.
They can't do that.
Have you watched Revenge of the Sith? They can certainly do that.
It's true.
They can absolutely do that. I mean,
Um,
maybe they're saving it for that particular moment because it's like, oh wow, this guy's serious. He's cutting off heads, and he's a Jedi. Well, this dude is bad. So only to be crowned Darth Vader has head decapitation authority in Star Wars in the eyes of Lucasfilm. But
all the regular fans are complaining about the light whip, whereas High Republic fans are excited. Right? I imagine if you've read about that with her character Vernestra in the books, it's probably sick to see it play out on screen. So I'm not even. I think at this point, people are just looking for everything to moan about. Those who have already written off this show are not going to find one positive thing to say about it. So they're looking already prematurely nitpicking at this rate for anything that they can use to give credence to their argument that the show's gonna fail, that it's woke, that God forbid there's too many women, even though the main character is a literally Squid Game dude. Like, oh my god, sweet lord. A male protagonist, but there's still too many women. I need to start calling him by his real name as well. We always just call him Squid Game dude. It was really interesting though.
I don't know his actual name.
They call him JJ in that, remember that featurette that we watched with Leslie Headland, and she talked about how that was actually really cool that she was actively writing that role for Soul. That's his Jedi name, and that she was watching Squid Game and she was like, frick. I mean, I don't blame her. I think we all watched Squid Game and we were like, this man is a star. I want to just rewatch it to see. I'm excited because I've only seen him in Squid Game. I've not watched any of his other works, so I imagine this is going to be a much different performance than his character in Squid Game. Two definitely very different characters, I feel like.
Yeah.
So like I almost want to rewatch to see how I don't know, it'll be a testament to how skilled he is. How the range he's going to be able to bring to a Jedi role versus if you've watched Squid Game and you know where his character starts out, he's kind of the antithesis. He's not exactly a badass when the show begins. But he certainly evolves.
Yeah. I mean, I think the visual of the light whip, going back to the light whip quick, threw me off a little bit. Just seeing it, it's like, well, that's new. But I think it's really the application of how it's used. I mean, when we first saw Rebels and they had the spinning sabers, that whole design and the helicopter thing.
Did that infuriate people?
That was people still have vendetta against the helicopter sabers. Yeah, for sure. So I mean, even in that case, it's like, oh well, that's new, that's interesting. But like, the application and the characters that are using it with the Inquisitors and how they're using it, I mean, they're merciless. So I think that has grown on me. I think if the whip is used in a way that's deserving of them creating this new thing versus if it's just used like a regular whip and it does basically no damage, then it's like, okay, this is still a lightsaber. It should, if you get hit with that thing, it should cut straight clean through your body versus bounce off like a
give you
regular
a little shock
whip. Yeah,
little love zap.
Like we don't want baseball bats or whips like real life. Like these things are cutting straight through you. So
we'll see.
Unless it's Beskar.
Oh, true.
Unless it's Beskar, then they have the protection. So
yeah, no, I think I don't know. I hope this is not to say you guys are allowed to feel however you want. I just very much believe when it comes to the science of Star Wars. I just think it's funny. The people who are complaining about the light whip are seemingly, this might be a generalization, but a similar crowd that complains about Star Wars delving into real life, real world politics, when it's just like, all right, well, if that's your expectation that you don't want anything of our real world to be applied to that universe, then why would our limiting scientific means have anything to do here? They're obviously much more advanced than we are. Helicopter light whips. Now that would be something, Jason. The one saber to troll them all. That would that would unleash a whole can of worms.
That's good.
Oh my gosh.
That's
The
good.
octopus saber. Yes, there's the possibilities are endless here.
Yeah.
But perhaps maybe that's what people are fearful of. It's not that they're anti light whip, but perhaps more so the concept of, oh, so now this can just take on any shape or form. Now, similarly to how Kylo Ren's saber, sparked some criticism, simply just two little added handles at the base.
Yeah.
So yeah, but no, I think I'm excited to see it more in action. It was literally a 5.05-second clip in the latest trailer, so but yeah, people were asking if we'd seen, you just watched it last night, the Amanda Stenberg, her playing the violin, talking about John
yes.
Williams.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just so freaking stoked for this show.
Yeah.
It's so clear that everybody involved is so freaking stoked for it, so we're gonna need to band together, guys, and tune out. I have a really bad feeling it's gonna be equivalent to like when we did Rings of Power season 1 here on the channel. And there were so many, obviously not people who are part of our community here, just spamming the comment section, making it insufferable. So brace yourselves, everybody. I feel like it's going to be a similar situation, unfortunately, with
Just
Acolyte.
ignore it.
That's what the block button's for. It's hard to ignore because it's just like, come on. I mean,
it drowns out the positive comments, which is frustrating. But the people who are there to watch to actually enjoy the show and watch the reaction and experience that with other people can still do that. Ultimately, this platform is like you and I are sitting here streaming in front of one screen. Everybody else watching right now is looking at their own screen. If someone were to come in here and say some blasphemous comment that just doesn't add any value and pisses people off or is rude or whatnot, then yeah, they just get kicked, but it's not going to impact anybody else's viewing experience unless we read out loud and let it affect us as the ones doing the stream. So it's the same with the reactions. Like if you have a positive energy in the camera, then everybody who's going to watch it to share your positive energy and enjoy it with you, they'll still get that. Versus if you start every video and you're like, all right, trolls and blah blah blah, keep to yourselves, yada yada, then it's giving them attention.
It's not even worth wasting breath on that anymore because it's clear they don't even watch your video, my videos. They just look for anyone who's happy about something and then actively just go to the comment, don't watch the video itself, and leave their turd trails and then go. Hello from Texas. What's up, Ozzy?
Ozzy, welcome.
Let's go.
Welcome.
Yes. So yeah, lots to look forward to. The cast for this show seems so passionate about Star Wars and this show, which is so cool to see. Just like Amanda dressing up as Padme for Celebration, right? Like that was the biggest green flag ever. And not only that, but her cosplay was freaking amazing. Like that's the best thing you could possibly want. And I've preached this so much on the channel. It's never meant to come across as like shading people, because I understand being an actor is like one of the world's most difficult jobs, and I know it sounds stupid to say that because yeah, the 1% of actors who are A-listers and millionaires and have built their wealth off of it and have like 10 different houses and drive Lamborghini, like that's 1% of the population of actors overall, which is why the SAG-AFTRA strikes last year were like so important, because they're really the minority in a much larger pool. But even for those actors, the A-listers, it's tireless. I understand it can be a draining, mentally taxing process, especially to be an actor in the Star Wars universe, where 90% of the time, God forbid you go online and even type Star Wars onto twitter.com, x.com, however you would like to refer to it. God forbid you even mention Star Wars to anybody. You could start a war, So it can be a very hostile environment, and I'm sure is draining.
In person, not at all.
Yeah.
You go to Celebration, even the extreme opinion people are all there. Everybody's having a good time. No one's screaming at each other in the face.
It can still be disheartening to spend years and so many hours in blood, sweat, and tears working on a film or a project or like, anything in the sequel trilogy there. Look at Daisy Ridley's the perfect example. She was literally driven off the internet and is just now coming back. And finally, kind of actually talking more openly. But it's been a few years. She had to go take a break for the sake of her sanity and her health. So she's like a prime example of what I'm getting at. Like, it can be, I'm sure, disheartening to pour so much of your life and your time and your career into something and then be driven off of the face of the internet for your own sanity's sake because it's hard to watch some of the discourse about it. So when you actually get people, it's like when you actually get actors who are excited to be in Star Wars, it's like, yes, please, we have to protect them at all costs. So that's why I'm just hoping that the Acolyte just proves all the premature haters wrong. And I don't want to equate being skeptic. I know many of you are cautiously optimistic, which is perfectly fine, perfectly normal. I would say that describes both of us. We're going in, like, I'm going in excited. I think it's going to be freaking amazing, but there's still the possibility of this could be something. This is the most unknown kind of Star Wars show going in, something so new and different, a clean slate. So there's the possibilities it could go anywhere. I honestly kind of feel like it's equivalent to like how The Mandalorian, the wait for that felt. That being the first show on Disney Plus, first live action project, and we were all like, "What the frick is this gonna be?"
Yeah.
There was so much mystery, and while yes, I think we know we have much more of an idea of the premise surrounding this show. I think it still has a similar air of that intrigue of like, what's this gonna be? It really feels new because it's finally branching out of, everything that's come with the exception of Kenobi and Andor has been within that Mando universe, so it's been easier to kind of anticipate, what to expect going in. Yeah, Dave, fair point too. Ahmed Best also left social media. Now he's garnering the respect he deserves, especially now with his character. Yes, Kelleran Beck. I saw something interesting. I saw him say that he would love to do like a John Wick-esque Star Wars film.
That's hilarious you bring that up, because I was actually thinking about that on my drive to work.
That quote? That he would want to do that?
Yes, and I was thinking they should take that idea, but not apply it to Kelleran Beck. You can apply it to, it needs to be dark side.
They would never
Jedi
anyway.
Going John Wick style, killing people
Wouldn't
like that.
Happen.
Unless you're Anakin.
That's not the Jedi way.
It's not the Jedi way. So they need to do, one idea that came to mind was Maul breaking out of prison in between like Clone Wars season 5 and season 7.
Oh.
Because we know that Sidious captures him and he and Dooku have him in that prison. So if it was like a prison break Maul thing, John Wick style, that would make sense.
Ooh.
That would make total sense. And it would be in line with the character. And it would be awesome. And if you put that in a movie theater for an hour and a half, you're going to fill some seats with that. Or Vader. Vader's another go-to. Where's the R-rated Darth Vader solo film?
That's never going to happen.
Listen to me. You're saying that, but it could. It very well could. The John Wick movies are so popular for one reason. There's no dialogue. It's violence for hours straight. And they're incredibly popular. Why? Because
the same foundation remains. You're avenging his puppy. The same theme just carries. It's like, this is for my dog. Every kill. It's like.
So open it up with Vader and the tragedy of Padme and him being sad and angry because his wife was taken from him because Sidious is an animal, a monster, and then that fuels his rage, and then bang, you're off on the tangent, and you got Vader slaughtering people for 2 hours in the same spirit of John Wick with an epic score, epic violence, just kick-ass, badass, hilarious violence that is in the John Wick movies, and bang.
I don't think Disney would ever allow for an R-rated.
What is Deadpool? Deadpool is R-rated. Right.
Dave, thank you so much, my friend. But can Kelleran Beck kill? Good point. Touche. Do they have pencils in the Star Wars universe? What is there? Do they have quills? They have some sort of pen device that he can use. They might not have the real pencil situation, but perhaps they have some sort of writing instrument that he could use. For Grogu, yes, he'll do anything.
Fantastic point, Dave. You're correct. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah, you make a fair point. There's been some Marvel movies there that have, Deadpool's technically in the realm of Marvel, right? I don't know.
So.
I mean, it's not out of the question, and I am a little bit curious, especially now that Disney Plus has fused with Hulu. So now everything Hulu you can find on the Disney Plus app, which is very interesting because there's a lot of adult content on Hulu, not safe for children stuff.
Yeah.
So that merge, perhaps, I highly doubt that plays in at all. But, if you're now getting the Hulu audience members, I think people used to formerly associate Disney Plus as like, oh, the family. That's where you go to get your kids' shows and all your Disney and Pixar movies to throw on for your kids and stuff like that. With the exception of the originals for Marvel and Disney, the original series from Disney Plus. But I think that's kind of the kind of rep Disney Plus has had formerly. So now that it's fused with Hulu and so many more users now, even if you weren't subscribed to Disney Plus, I think if you had Hulu, you now get the bundle. You get both.
Yeah.
But
this doesn't need to be rated R. Like, it doesn't need to be. Stanley's, you're right. The lightsabers cauterize the wound, so there's no blood. It's not gory. Like, John Wick is very gory.
Yeah.
This doesn't have to be gory. You look at the originals and the prequels, and even a lot of the shows, like the examples people were talking about, like, there is lightsabers, and they are killing people, and they are wounding people, and stabbing people, and cutting open limbs. Like, this is war. You can release a PG-13 movie and have someone killing a lot of people with a lightsaber, and it doesn't have to be completely, it's not going to be gory if they're like screaming and howling in pain and all that stuff. But they release Kenobi and he's like dragged through flames and is howling in pain, and Vader's snapping the kid's neck and dragging people in the street and they're screaming in pain. So like, they've already teased us with that. So you could do a full feature film of the bounds that they've already set and call it PG-13. And you're fine. There's no gore. There's no sex, drugs,
rock and roll,
blood that would make it, F-bombs all over the place. Like, you don't need that stuff to make it R, even though it would be hilarious.
That's just PG-13, right? You can get away with PG-13 as long as you just limit to one F-bomb,
yeah.
Right? So that wouldn't even take it to R.
If there's no line of dialogue,
but one,
and it's Vader for an hour and a half slaughtering people in vengeance of his late wife Padme, and then he ends it with a F you at the end, and then that's the end of the movie. Perfect. John Wick style, like 30 lines of dialogue in a 3-hour movie. Perfect.
John Blake, thank you for the super chat. A spicy Boston ass movie would certainly. Not sure how well that would perform.
Oh yeah.
Not sure how well that would perform. Seeing that on the big screen.
Boss Nash.
Gosh, that's actually fair point, Dave. That's the one time there's ever blood. In A New Hope when he slices off that dude's arm.
Yes,
and
that's
there's some blood splatters. That's the one and only time a lightsaber has drawn blood. Perhaps it had been dull after years of not being used.
Thank you, John. Yes, that is a fantastic idea.
We could certainly get some interesting lightsaber fights if they were allowed to get R-rated up in there, says Coruscant.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Like
I have hopes for Acolyte, though.
You don't need that. You don't need it.
No, Star Wars doesn't need that.
You can do John Wick style Star Wars. I think it would have to be with the dark side user to make it make sense that they're literally butchering people.
Yeah, no mercy.
But there's not going to be blood. There's not going to be guts. There's not going to be, nudity, presumably, unless they want to go that way. But I would presume no nudity. So they can do a PG-13 violent, very action-driven, minimal dialogue John Wick style movie if they wanted to. I think using Keller and Beck would be an interesting choice because he's a Jedi. So why is a Jedi
that
going to butcher people?
Interesting if it's like, all right, it's post Order 66, obviously. He's a protector of children, specifically Grogu here, as we know their plot to be, their premise. It could be very interesting to see from a Jedi perspective. It's like, well, yeah, what we're saying is that's not the Jedi way, so we would never see a true active Jedi necessarily during the peak of the Order acting in such a fashion. But if it would be interesting to see a story of a Jedi post Order 66 immediately in the Fallout being like, frick it all, frick everything I've ever learned. I gotta step up.
Yeah, I mean, Yoda and
Snap out of
Obi-Wan.
it.
Yoda and Obi-Wan rolled up to the Jedi Temple, and they weren't showing any mercy.
Oh my god, I always think about that TikTok that the Lego ones, where it's like Ahsoka with Rex, like, set your guns to stun. I don't want to hurt anybody. Let's go! And then it's Kenobi and Yoda.
Yeah, they were
absolutely just stabbing people in the face.
Slaughtering clones on the doorstep.
That's true. Yeah, that's a prime example of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, all bets are off.
You can do it.
Decorum is out the window. The Jedi Order no longer exists, so why am I gonna conduct myself in a way that a Jedi would behave, you know?
Yeah. There are ways that this could work. And, I mean, I think that it would fill some seats in the theater. Like, the action is really the thing that, like, is... I mean, if you compare the weight of the fights in the original trilogy and the choreography of the fights in the prequels, the sequels, there was not a signature, like, high energy, intensity lightsaber fight. I mean, the closest thing we got was in Force Awakens.
The Last Jedi, I think that fight in the throne room after they kill Snoke is great.
That doesn't count, because it's like them just fighting regular troopers. I mean, they're more advanced troopers, the Praetorian Guards, but I mean, we see Mando fight Praetorian Guards in Mando Season 3, so...
Oh, God, yeah, true that. Oh.
Yeah. And Paz Vizsla get worked by Praetorian Guards in Mando Season 3.
God. Julian, member for 28 months, master level. Let's go, my friend.
Julian!
Hey again, Tom. How's Vader returning to Tatooine, seeking out rebels? Oh, then returning the Tuskegee Raiders the Tusken Raiders who killed his mother and went on a killing rage. Yeah, that could be. He goes for Watto next.
Or even if it's a compilation of just Anakin slaughtering things. Like, it starts with Anakin slaughtering the Tusken Raiders. We get the full scene from Attack of the Clones. Then we get the full scene of him raiding the temple and slaughtering everybody. And then we get, a full scene of him potentially going back to Tatooine and triggering memories and slaughtering some other things. Like, they would never realistically do that. That would be like a Tales of the Sith type thing, where in like 20 minutes you see it's like, okay, here's the full character development rage of Anakin Skywalker, Vader, and they would show you that. Like, I think if it was going to be a movie, it would have to be some spark plug, like his dog dying, and I mean, if it's Vader's case, his wife dying. If it's Maul's case, him getting thrown in prison and betrayed by his master and his rage for Sidious, and then he escapes prison. I think that's a great one. I mean, it's we know in the comics, like, it's a huge prison. Somehow he escapes. You could do a prison break movie for an hour and a half of Maul, showing you how he gets thrown into prison.
I'd watch it.
It would start with the Palpatine, that fight. One of the greatest moments in the Clone Wars is when Palpatine shows up to Mandalore and single-handedly schools Maul and Savage, and then Savage dies and he takes Maul captive. Like, if we saw that would be the Kickstarter live action. That gets thrown in prison, and then you realize that, oh, Palpatine betrayed this guy, so you feel bad for Maul, and then he goes on an absolute rampage to break out of prison to go get his revenge. Hour and a half movie. Done. John Wick style. Maul just tearing it up through the hallways.
Let's go. We got Elwood in the chat.
I would sit in the movie theater.
Let's freaking go, Blues Brothers. No, anything Darth Maul. Sign me the frick up. Y'all, every day I get closer and closer to sending it and just getting a Darth Maul tattoo. I'm serious. Cementing my obsession. Did you have any poll ideas for this evening? I have one idea, but I was curious if you had one. My idea was, will Star Wars ever make an R-rated movie? Yes or no? But I was curious if you had a thought to wrap up.
I don't have a poll idea, but I have a theory for the Acolyte.
All right. Okay, well, don't come out after I start to wrap up and then say, wait, now we're doing a poll.
Well, I want to do a poll too.
Well, let's do whatever poll idea you have. Or
But
do
I have a theory and
you have to present your idea first? Let's do the poll so that the results can roll in while you talk. That's fine. Tom's gonna conduct a poll and then he's gonna share and act like I'll do the poll. So I'll make it my idea. What's the poll idea?
Okay.
What's our poll?
You do your poll.
No, what's your poll idea?
Well, we've just been talking about John Wick, Star Wars, so we could combine our two and say, would you like to see
I think we know what the
John Wick style Star Wars film?
Star Wars ever make a John
Not will.
Wick.
Should they? Should is key. Because will, I guess probably not.
I think we know the answer. Like, yeah, everybody would want to see that. So should gives it a little bit of nuance. Like, yeah, would we all want to watch that? Probably. Will they ever do that? Maybe not. But should they? That adds some more nuance.
Yeah.
There we go. Poll positions, everyone. You may fire when ready. Should Star Wars ever make a John Wick-esque film? Yes or no? And from Julian, thank you again, my friend. I would like to see Sam Witwer playing Darth Maul in live action. Oh, that would be so dang cool. Stop. I'm sure he would enjoy that as well. That would be very cool.
Yeah,
so,
Julian, that would be interesting. That would be interesting.
Your acolyte theories.
Before we do that, okay, never mind. Yeah, so, yeah, I think, well, poll results, majority yes. Majority yes.
Nobody's putting thought into this. They're like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No question.
Yeah, so you can still have a emotional story, but then focus on the action and the response to whatever emotional spark you're triggered by. I mean, you have 4 John Wick films, and they all go back to
and spin-offs.
A single emotional moment that is incredibly sad.
My God.
Incredibly sad. But it carries 4 movies. So Star Wars is way more sad and emotional moments happen. So they could definitely come up with the justification to have a hour and a half, 2 hour, 2.5 movie, just pure action tear. But wow. Danny!
Thank you so much, my friend. Sean's comment. I second that. Damn, Daniel. My gosh. My goodness gracious. Thank you so that you're freaking too freaking generous. What the frick?
Too kind.
Like back-to-back weeks, Danny, that you've come in here. My God. My gosh. Thank you. Oh my sweet goodness gracious. I hope everyone is well. Not a question, but I recently made the connection that Sidious occupies the same archetypal role as Prometheus the Serpent in Eden, and the witches in Macbeth, tempting knowledge and power to corrupt Maul as well. Yeah, that's actually such a good point. And Macbeth too, like so much of current modern storytelling can just be traced back to Shakespearean, just the basic roles and fundamental character structures and dynamics and whatnot. That's such a good freaking point. My gosh. Yeah, no, he really is. He's like the little devil on your shoulder. Just, my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, thank Danny. My gosh. Sweet Lord.
Absolutely. And I think that for, like, if you look at Vader and how Palpatine's basically seduced Anakin to the dark side, and then, essentially said, like, oh yeah, it's your fault your wife is dead because you went to the dark side, but you can't blame me. Like, we know Vader hates Palpatine. We know he hates him. But we go from he hates him
his finger
to, okay, he doesn't do anything for 25 years until he throws him down the pit.
Well, because he's lost everything else, so what are his other options?
But, like, there could be some rage. There could be some, he tries to rise up and actually tempt fate and attack him, and then Sidious just puts him in his place. Like, maybe it's a Vader immediately after the Revenge of the Sith, like, goes and storms, tries to get after Palpatine and fights off, all the clone troopers, stormtroopers, whatever it may be, to claw his way to Palpatine for an assassination attempt. And Palpatine just lets him do it and puts him through the ringer, and then he finally gets there, and then Palpatine just just shocks him, puts it in his place.
I think that's a spin-off ending in Force Unleashed.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Before we keep going on a tangent, John, thank you so much as well.
John,
we need a Sam Witwer movie. We need Sam Witwer more involved in Star Wars right now. Listen, I'll listen to that man. I think they sneak him in for some cameos in VO roles here and there. That was so funny. I think, was it in Kenobi or... No, it might have been Book of Boba. It was either Book of Boba Fett or Kenobi. There's a pedestrian person in a town who looked... The extra looked a lot like Sam Witwer, remember? And he had to go on Twitter and be like, that wasn't me.
Oh, yeah.
But it would be cool to see him in live action, like make a physical cameo, but I feel like they also still get him involved in some voiceover roles, little sneaky roles here and there when they can. But I certainly hope this is not the end of his career voicing Darth Maul. Like, please. So much more there. I know other people would probably look me in the eye and disagree entirely and say, don't beat a dead horse, just let Darth Maul rest. Like, they've used what they can out of his character.
Let him die.
We're all going to die. They've milked all they can out of him, but I'm like, keep milking it. Keep going.
Yep.
Forever and ever. I don't care.
Just like
they could literally resurrect him. There I was saying, death doesn't necessarily mean too much in Star Wars anymore, in some people's opinion, because they're just reviving so many different characters. And that was a huge discussion surrounding tech. The discourse surrounding, does anyone ever really stay dead in Star Wars? If you don't see a body, it's not a confirmed kill. We literally see Darth Maul's body, and they could still bring him back to life, and I would be like, yes! Thank you, please! So... Yeah. I would turn into a hypocrite in like 0.2 seconds.
Keep milking it.
Milk it, please, forever.
Just like go Luke on that sea cow.
Ew! Alright.
Milk away.
On that note, okay, so most people agree, 90% resounding yes, Star Wars should make a John Wick-esque film at some point in the future. So I'm glad we're all in agreement. We'll finish up this evening with what is your long-awaited theory here for the Acolyte? Is it something that you've been thinking about, or did it just come to you tonight?
I was thinking about it a little bit. I think that with this story, I think it's going to be a kind of a light versus dark thing. And I think that, in all the trailers we've seen, Amanda Stenberg's character attacking, and the assumption is that she's killing all these Jedi. But then we see one clip in a TV spot.
The new one, yeah.
Where it's her, the same character, saying, no, it's not me. I didn't do it.
Believe me, she says. Yeah.
I think what we could get here, and maybe this comes from some rumors from years past about what the show is going to be, is that you have these twin sisters, which kind of goes like the Old Republic storyline with the twin brothers. Twin sisters, one gets taken by the Jedi because she's deemed as Force sensitive. The other grows up hating the Jedi because they took her sister away. So she discovers she's Force sensitive and gets absorbed into this dark side cult. She goes after the Jedi and starts killing them, versus the good sister is getting framed as, going ahead and killing the Jedi because the Jedi maybe didn't know that she had a twin sister. So then that leads to this clashing of family history that ultimately is what's going to drive the plot of this show. That's what I'm thinking. I could see that happening based on that one clip of Amanda Stenberg's character saying, no, it's not me, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
But then we see all this footage of visually the same person doing the same thing.
Is that meant to be a misdirect, though? That I questioned that the second we heard that sound bite. Like, I didn't do it, believe me. And they have her seemingly cornered on this cliff here, and she's confronted with Saul, her former master. I wonder if that's a little more revealing of what the plot could be, if she's been framed, or she's not actually the one running around assassinating Jedi. Your idea definitely, I think, would draw from the Old Republic Disorder short film, the animated short with Darth Malgus, and it focuses on the two siblings, where it shines a whole different light, a whole different perspective, because you see it then through the lens of the one who is left behind, her brother, who's then put in shackles and is clearly seemingly living a much worse life after that point because, oh, he didn't get scooped up by the Jedi and get to go live in glory at the Jedi Temple and be taken care of, you know. That, and that certainly would certainly, you know, answer the question of, well, how could anyone despise the Jedi so much? Well, if you're rejected by them and you get to see your sibling go on and live this life of glory, have an amazing upbringing, be separated. That's another thing. Yeah, being separated from your sibling at the young age in which younglings are taken is a whole other thing. Separated from your family, XYZ. So that could address the question of why my biggest interest to see is, like, you know, why would what would not only drive someone to, you know, leave the Jedi excommunicado, but then go on a rampage of assassinating them. You'd have to be majorly wronged by them, or trying to send a very major menacing message. So that could address, you know, some origins of where this is going, for what could drive somebody to despise the Jedi so much to be killing them. Because the Jedi themselves, from what we've seen in the trailers, all seem extremely confused about this. You know, it seems like a new phenomenon, like, oh, nobody can just get away with killing a Jedi, so how is this happening and who's doing this?
Yeah.
That could be interesting. Evil twin turns to the light, good twin turns to the dark. We'll see.
Yeah, I think that's set up. It seems plausible. But yeah, I mean, we really don't know exactly where this story is going. I mean, it's basically set up as a Jedi murder mystery, trying to figure this thing out. And we know it's going to go somewhere, so definitely excited to see where it's going to go. Another question, what is Yoda doing? Like, how is Yoda, he's going to show up, right?
They're not going to address that in the trailers. I think they're saving that.
No, but like, Yoda has to show up, right? Is everybody here on the same page that Yoda has to show up in the show, that he will be showing up in the show?
I think we all know it, and I think they know it too. I think it's something, it's got to be one of the first things they thought about when they sat down to write this. Like, all right, everybody and their mother is going to know that Yoda is old enough to be alive at this point in time. So what are we going to do about it? So I feel like they cannot beat around that bush.
And if Jedi are dying all over the place, and this is a new thing, it's not very common. If Yoda's the Grand Master of the Jedi Order, why is he not the one ultimately making the decisions here? If people under his watch, in his temple, in his order, are dying, like, he's got to be involved, right? He's not just saying, "Oh yeah, here's secretary. You worry about that." You know,
my secretary.
I got bigger things to worry about.
God.
Bigger fish to fry. There's always a bigger fish. It's like the Jedi are dying.
I'm not gonna bet money that he's going to be a pivotal main character in this. He's got to be featured, I feel like, but I don't think it'll be to a major extent. But I do think he has to make an appearance. If he were going to be a really crucial part to the story and solving and troubleshooting this problem here, I think he'd be featured in the marketing. Because my question is, if he does have such a large role in the show, if he were to be involved to that extent, why would you not include him in all of the advertisement leading up to get some fan attraction going?
Yeah. Or at least his voice.
Yeah, right? Even just that.
I mean, it's like Palpatine's laugh at the end of the Rise of Skywalker teaser trailer.
That was enough.
I mean, that ignited a whole firestorm of interest in the movie and what was going on. Was that Palpatine? Yada, yada, yada.
Especially since this is a show where, like, casuals or people who haven't been watching, you know, Disney Plus live action Star Wars, like, this in particular, even for sweaty Star Wars fans, this show presenting something so new, so different, so many people are kind of on the fence. That would be just one option to have people rest assured, or to just get people to that same level of excitement. It's like, I don't know how the frick this movie's gonna be, but at least Sidious is in it. What the frick? Like, that was such a talking point. So, you know, maybe they know it wouldn't be so much of a surprise, versus that was like a life-altering, trilogy-altering surprise, you know, that changed the course of the whole sequel trilogy, the films and whatnot. You know, Sidious returning, versus perhaps they know that it's kind of, everyone's maybe expecting it, so they're just gonna save it for Yoda.
Yeah, it could be.
Different circumstance, maybe.
It could be. Versus, yeah, you're right. That moment was a total out of left field, because there wasn't really any setup there at all. Outside of, I do think that, like, JJ's initial intent. Like, because when Rey's fighting in Force Awakens, like, she's doing Palpatine saber moves, the stabs and the thrusts, and like the way she's fighting, it's very reminiscent of Palpatine in Revenge of the Sith when he's fighting Mace Windu with the saber. So like, even after that movie came out, like there was all over the place that Rey is a Palpatine, yada yada. So like, I think in JJ's mind, it's there from the beginning, but there's no clean answer to that, and we probably will not know for the next 20 years until JJ decides to come out and spill all the tea and whatnot. But
Elwood makes an interesting point. I actually would prefer if Yoda didn't show up. It might end up being just fan service and stealing spotlight. That's fair. John Blake, thank you for the super chat.
John, again, you're an animal, John.
Yoda once said, if the Jedi code minigun be, oh my god. To touch on your point though, Elwood, it might end up being fan service. That's fair as well. Like, and I think, you know, yes, he's a Jedi, you know, he's a master, I would imagine, at this point in the timeline as well. So, but that said, I think there's so many more Jedi, you know, there's a frick ton of Jedi. This is also in their peak. Like, there's a ton of them. There's so much more.
He is the Grand Master at this time.
Yes, but to Elwood's point, you know, if they're really trying to create the story around these characters, it could, I don't know, it could potentially steal their spotlight. I don't know if I would feel that way at all. I think it would make sense to have him in, but that's fair. I see you. I hear that.
I don't think it would be a main role. I mean, he doesn't have a main role in the prequels. He just sits in his chair.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Until
he's not
the
going to have
end of
a
Attack of the Clones
huge pivotal role.
And the end of Revenge of the Sith. He just sits in the council chambers in the chair, chatting with the other Jedi Masters, and debating what the Jedi course of action should be. So I think if there's no scene of that nature, then it would feel very different. Because yeah, as the audience who is aware of the timeline, we know he's there. We know he's in the council chamber. If all these Jedi are dying, why are you telling this story if there's something way more important that Yoda's dealing with at this time period that he doesn't have the time to be involved with this theory? Like, why is this a story if your Jedi Grand Master has his eyes looked elsewhere and just says, oh no, you guys, okay, yeah, sure, do this, blah, blah, blah. But like, again, it can just be him debating with the other Jedi council members. They come up with the decision, and then the actual execution of that gets flowed down to, you know, Squid Game guy and the Jedi that are directly involved with the conflict. Just like Yoda and Mace Windu designate Anakin and Obi-Wan to do all this stuff, and they designate Qui-Gon to do all this stuff in the prequels. Like, I think it'd be that same type of working relationship.
They assign others to do the dirty work.
Yeah. Like, are we going to see Yoda getting actually involved hands-on with his saber and fighting and all that stuff?
On the front lines, no.
Probably not.
Well, we'll find out. We don't have too much longer to wait. It's rapidly approaching here, folks. How much longer? Is it just 2 or 3 more weeks?
2 weeks.
Holy shnikes, it's 2 weeks. Oh my god.
2 weeks out. 2 weeks from now, exactly.
Literally, yeah.
We'll be watching it.
We'll be 8 minutes into the first episode. This time, 2 weeks from now. Well, stay tuned for that, folks. That's going to be a Dork Discourse extravaganza pregame. It's going to be fun. I'm super excited. Oh my god, I'm so stoked. The timing of this has been great. We had a good buffer between this and the conclusion of the Bad Batch to get hype, and now I'm like, yeah, Star Wars in the queue. Let's get it. But yeah, thank you guys. Sit this one out.
Sit this one out, I will.
God, we'll see. We don't have too much longer to speculate, but thank you all for joining us for this random episode of Dork Discourse. Even for having no topic this evening, we still touched on quite a lot of things. Yeah. Well, it always goes back to Star Wars.
Great questions. A lot of good questions.
Dealer's choice. Thank you all for dealing some interesting things to talk about. To those of you who super chatted, truly can't thank you enough.
Yes.
You guys are so incredibly generous. But as always, I never want anyone to feel obligated or feel bad if they don't. You are by no means obligated to at all. It just certainly means a lot. But even if you're here just commenting, interacting, and even if you're not lurking in the chat and you're just still watching a, third person and not interacting necessarily, we still see you. We appreciate you.
Yes.
Thank you for joining. Oh, Matthew Tarpley, happy birthday.
Yeah, happy early birthday.
Happy early birthday tomorrow. Hope you have an amazing one. Hope you all have an amazing rest of your week. Thank you guys for joining. This was fun. We'll catch you guys in the next installment. But until then, hope you guys have a great rest of your forming attachments with Yaddle. Sorry. I started doing that and then I saw
Too busy forming attachments with Yaddle.
I saw shots coming and I lost it. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, night, morning, evening, 3 a.m., whatever time it may be. May the force be with you guys always. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, and we will see you guys again very, very soon. Thank you all so much.
Great questions, y'all.
Yes.
Have a good evening. We'll catch you next week.